Hey. Alright, so this video, I'm going to tell you guys about basically why I think I should be the next Stone Temple Pilot, or at least I'm worth a jam with you guys. I just had to kind of organize some of my thoughts here. So first of all, I just want to say I don't think anybody would do it better, frankly. You know, I know that's a big statement, but I don't think whoever you guys choose is going to be the singer or the dancer or the guitar player or the lyricist that I am. You know, it's something that kind of keeps me up nights ever since I found out that you guys were looking for a singer and all that. It's just been a whirlwind for me because I literally I wake up in the middle of the night sometimes just thinking, man, I don't think whoever that guy is, I don't think he's going to do it better than me. You know, I have this little voice in my head that's just telling me, maybe you guys haven't found somebody because you haven't met me yet. I don't know. I just don't know. But, you know, I am experienced. I've played a shitload. I'm really used to microphones and working an audience and playing to audiences. And, you know, I know your discography really well. I know everything. Basically, you know, I want to write the best music of all time. I want to write for a band and with a band who's awesome, like you guys. You know, people that I really feel like I understand and I can get down with. And I want to take it to the next level for the rest of the world. You know, that's what's important to me is making music that's going to inspire millions. You know, like I said, it keeps me up nights, man. Like I feel like I can't think of anybody who would do it better. You know, not to blow my own horn, but I feel like I'm a secret weapon, man. Like I just hope that somebody is as passionate about it as me, you know, if they do end up singing for your band. You know, I feel like you guys carried the torch in a big way, you know, for a lot of elements of music, let alone rock. But, you know, for alternative, you guys did a lot of things that other bands weren't quite doing. You had a grip on things that other bands just didn't have. I really do think you are like a shooting star band. Not a lot of people do what you guys did and continue to do. You know, it's not like I really give a shit about being a rock star and like, yeah, so be it. I think I'd thrive and it's wonderful, but really it's about making the best music possible, you know. I want STP to be bigger and bigger and bigger, and I want this band to explode into oblivion just forever, you know. I that's all I really want. You know, I feel like you guys are the type of band where you push each other to greater things. You know, I want to be in a band that pushes each other, and you know, everybody is the best they can be for each other, and you know, for the fans, and that's what I want to do. You know, I want to set the bar way too fucking high. That's what I want to do. I want people to cry, to laugh, to feel when they see us. You know, it's just always in the back of my mind, like literally every waking moment. It sounds fucking ridiculous, but hey, that's why I'm doing this. Um, yeah, you know, that's what I want to do is inspire, and like I love every element of rock and roll. You know, not all the bad shit, but you know, like I love interacting with people and like getting to know fans and you know, moving around and doing this and that. You know, there's a lot of important elements. People think it's, you know, just singing and having fun and this and that, but there's a lot of work that I want to put into it, and you know, I just want to push that bar higher and higher. That's really what I'm interested in doing. Um, you know, I, the thing that's really huge, two things. You know, I already said this, but I'll touch further on it. You know, Scott was such a front man. He was the best front man alive, as far as I'm concerned. He was unbelievable. You know, he did more for the front man ego than anybody I can name did. I mean, he pushed it. When he was great, he was the greatest. He was so inspiring. And you know, that's what it takes. You need somebody to jump around like a fucking animal and work the audience and be that dude, you know. And I have incredible stamina. Like I literally just like run around my house or my neighborhood or at a gas station and sing my ass off. I'll jump out of the car and sing to people and dance around. People are like, what the fuck? I've never had the cops called on me, but you know, I'm an animal. Like I just don't give a fuck. I'm just about expressing myself and blowing people's minds. That's what I like to do, you know. So like dancing around and being that front man is a big part of it. But you know, for me, it's frustrating because I've played in so many different bands, and I feel like none of them have kept up with me. You know, to be totally honest, I'm just nuts. Like, I'm pushing that bar. The other thing I wanted to touch base on is lyrics. You know, obviously, I don't need to tell you guys how amazing your lyrics are. I mean, you guys really just, no band is doing that. No band is doing that. Man, I could name some sucky lyrics, but never coming from you guys, really. And that's something that is so much appreciated. You know, I meet people who might not even like a song, but they love the song because of the lyrics, you know, and it means a lot to people, and it means a lot to me. And you know, that's just something that's very important to me. So a little about me, you know, I grew up, my dad played in a band all growing up. You know, I'm the youngest of 4 boys. And my brothers got me into really great music from a young age. They were always rocking out and, you know, always listening to my dad's band in the basement and stuff, playing and seeing him go off to shows and this and that, and still work a regular 9 to 5. It was really cool to see. He was dedicated to it, and I loved seeing that. As a kid, you know, it started really young. I have this thing with music. I have perfect pitch, and I never knew that as a kid. I never, you know, I didn't have any knowledge really of music, but when people would sing, I knew if it was in the wrong key, and I knew if it was wrong, obviously, to the ear, you know, the melody itself. And I never got that, you know, and people were always like, yeah, like, what, why does it matter, man? Why does it matter? But it did matter to me. I mean, I always noticed that. When I see music, like when I hear music, I actually see shapes. It's really kind of a ridiculous thing to talk about. I don't know if this is for anybody else, but I see like a line and the shapes go through the line in real time. And I can't really describe them, but they all have their own like pattern and color and feel to them. And as the music's happening, that's kind of how I know it so well. I don't really know how to explain it beyond that, but you know, that's important to me. But you know, before I ever played an instrument, singing was always so important to me from a really young age. That was what I did. There's recordings of me from, you know, 3 years old up. I just love to friggin' sing, man. You know, I also always wrote songs, even as a little kid. I would write poems, and that was something that I really loved. I loved going to the library down the street and like reading through poetry books and knowing words. You know, this language, this English language, is the only means I have to express myself. So it's always been very important to me. When I fuck up my words, I'm like, that I can't sleep at all. You know, I'm adamant. Like, words are the way we express ourselves, and you gotta nail that. You know, that's what blows people's mind. But so, you know, growing up and stuff, I did that. But it wasn't until I was in 8th grade where I started playing bass, and I wanted to play bass because I just, you know, I love like the Chili Peppers and all sorts of alternative rock music. But I wanted to be in a band, and you know, I just wanted to control music in such a different way. I wanted to have an understanding of it. And so that summer, I ended up just learning like the whole discography of the Chili Peppers, like from their first album up through, you know, their last, By the Way, or whatever it was at that time. And I worked my ass off, and it's something that I always took with me. I'm pissed when I can't figure something out. Like, it just eats me alive. I have to get through it. I have to work at it. I will stay up all night, and I have to get it done. If I lack an understanding in something on guitar or musically at all, like, it blows my mind and it kills me, and I don't let it go until it's gone. You know, it's just a part of me. And so, you know, so I played bass really well, and by the time I got to high school, that next year, I was really pretty friggin' good. You know, I played in lots of different bands because that's what I wanted to do. I decided I wanted to do music, and I knew right then and there that was my calling. And so I was a musical slut. I played with tons of different people and just tried to always find the next better act, you know. I traveled around as much as I could. As soon as I got a car, I would drive and meet new bands. And if I found a band that was better, whoosh, gone, go to that band. If I found a, you know, band that sucked or something wasn't good, I was out. You know, I was always looking for the next big thing. And I met a lot of great musicians that way, and I got better and better at my craft. But I never quite found people that had the same thing I did, man. Like, I don't know what it was, but I still don't know what it is, but I'm getting to the bottom of it. So in high school, one of the things I did was I started a boys choir with some of my friends, and not a lot of people were singing. It wasn't like cool amidst all the rap music and stuff, but I loved it, and I don't know, I love harmonies and all that, and so we got a group of guys together, and probably half of us could sing pretty good, but it was fun, and we all had the responsibility of different parts, and it was just really cool doing the boys choir. I sung for a million different bands as time went on because it was fun playing bass, but I just found that nobody was fronting a band like I wanted to. It's really important. Like that's the face of the band. It's what everybody sees. As I always say, if the drummer sucks, you all suck, because the drummer's the backbone, right? He's keeping it together, and that goes without saying. And then second most important, really, would be the singer. I mean, the singer is, yeah, you could have people that are all playing in time, but if the singer's no good, that's all anybody cares about. They're singing the songs, they got the lyrics, they're looking at that guy. He's the ringleader, he's the guy. And so I started singing for different bands and doing like some like Doors tribute band and like just this and that, doing random gigs, and people really liked me on vocals, and I really liked me on vocals. Nobody did it like me, and that was something I always took with me. But finally, graduating high school, I decided I wanted to go to Berklee for bass, and so I tried out, and I was accepted off the bat, which was nice because you can obviously get accepted, deferred, waitlisted, or rejected, but I was accepted right off the bat, which was cool. And then just before I went, I pulled out and decided not to go. I cracked the piggy bank open, and I was like 40 grand short, and I had like 8 semesters to do that with, so I just said fuck that. But the rest of like my friends and people I knew went off to school, and my best friend went to Berklee, and a few other friends did. And it was a little depressing, but I thought, hey, whatever. I'm just going to keep working and keep playing music and do what I can do. So I started playing guitar a lot, and I started playing acoustic gigs around town, and I got pretty good at that. I got some good gigs, and I was getting paid, which was cool. When you're young and doing that sort of thing, and everybody loves you. It's a fun way to make a living. I ended up playing like Deval Patrick's inaugurational party and meeting a bunch of people, and things were getting really good for me playing acoustic. But I really wanted to be in a band, and so basically about a year later, my bass player, the guy I know now, my best buddy there, Kevo, he ended up leaving Berklee, and he decided he wanted to come back and play in a band and do it. And so he was like, you're playing guitar, pick up an electric, and let's fucking get into a band, and let's be a power trio, and let's rock it. So that's what we did. I started a power trio called Under Suspicion. Now, it was at the same time as Highly Suspect was around, kind of. Basically, that was in 2008 that I started Under Suspicion, and Highly Suspect started in 2009. This is kind of a funny story. They went to high school with us. They were seniors when we were freshmen, but I never knew them from high school. I only knew them after the fact because we were really tearing it up. We had a great drummer, and me and Kev on bass, he sang and I sang, and we just annihilated it. And we were young kids, so it was hard to get gigs at first. And what we would do is, rather than ask and try and make contacts, we would just get our acoustics and jump into bars and just play, barge past the door guy and just rock the fuck out. Go up to everybody at the bar and kill it. And it worked every time. I don't know how, but nobody kicked us out, and they kept us, and then we started playing for little tips here and there, and one thing led to another. The manager was like, all right, come back for a night. And that's how we got our gigs. So that was in 2008. We started playing, we tore it up, and then in 2009, Highly Suspect started, and they were playing. It was Johnny with like some other guys. It was like 3 or 4 acoustic guitars, and like they were all singing. It was just a hodgepodge of dudes. And so one night we were the house band, like for I don't even know for how long. We've been a house band for lots of different locations, but we were at Rum Runners, Scum Runners, lovingly referred to, in Dennis, over down the road, and Johnny came up and saw Under Suspicion play, and he's staring at us with his beer, and he's right in the front, and he's looking at us. And I didn't know him at that point. It was my first time really meeting him, but I had seen his acoustic gig that he was doing with these guys. And we got off stage, and he starts talking. He's like, man, you guys are really good, It's awesome that you're a three-piece and you're so young. I wish I started doing that young and blah, 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 or playing out that young, because I know he'd been a musician for a long time. But he said, I finally got off my ass and started doing acoustic gigs and blah, blah, blah. And I said, Johnny, if you want my advice, man, what you have to do is kick everybody else out. Like, get a bass player, get on guitar, get a drummer, and do what we're doing. You know, there's much more benefits in playing with a three-piece if you can handle it. And he's like, yeah, you're right. So they started doing that, and there was no relation in Highly Suspect and Under Suspicion. Like, the names were totally separate. It wasn't like they started Highly Suspect as a joke or something. But as the year or two went on, bands were getting us confused, or fans were getting us confused all the time, because one was Under Suspicion, one was Highly Suspect, and we were both three-piece bands that were crushing it and playing a lot of cool and kind of the same covers. I guess our band was a little bit more punk and like ska influenced, and we had two singers where at the time it was just Johnny singing. And so it was, so there were subtle differences, but people were getting us confused all the time. So finally, like, every once in a while, we just introduce ourselves as each other's band just to fuck with the audience. And it was fun, and years went on, and basically my band Under Suspicion, we added a trombone player / guitar player / singer, because we love doing, like, you know, those barbershop harmonies. And we had a really kick-ass drummer, but he didn't sing, so we wanted another guy to fill the space. And so then we were a four-piece band, and things were going good, but, you know, those guys were in school, and motivation is hard to come by with musicians, which you must notice. And, you know, we broke up because it was just kind of a lack of similar interests in where the band was going, you know. So that happened, and around the same time, or slightly before that, I started longboarding a lot, and I was, you know, into surfing and snowboarding and this and that. And a friend of mine that I knew of had asked me, had you ever considered a job or a career in the action sports industry? One thing led to another, and I started working for a kiteboarding company. That's how I gave you guys those free lessons. This guy basically sent me to the Dominican Republic to get internationally certified to teach professionally, and so I did. I took the fast track and did it, and I came back, and I spent a lot of time doing that. And so for those last Under Suspicion years, I was playing in the band, and I was teaching kiteboarding, and I still worked another job as a personal care attendant for this older lady that was in my neighborhood. And I was working my ass off, and it was nice because a lot of the money was under the table. And so what I would do is, from like 2010, 11, and 12, I would play all summer, and then in the winter time, I'd just head out. I had a little Toyota Celica, and I would just go around the country. I'd make trips to Florida, California, wherever, and just live out of my car for a while and just save the money. And I'd stop in towns, and I'd busk, and I'd do what I could to make ends meet. And it wasn't really that hard, just because, you know, I had that cash flow of being able to busk and, you know, do odd jobs, which was cool. So I'd come back for the summers and do that. And it was a great life, but then finally, you know, once Under Suspicion broke up, I was pretty fed up. Some shit happened, and so I ended up moving to California for a little while, and I spent time in San Diego, and then I moved up to South Lake Tahoe to get a job on a mountain snowboard instructing. And, you know, the things we do for women, guys, I ended up kind of get in touch with an old girlfriend again, and, you know, my most recent girlfriend, and I ended up coming back home to the Northeast for her, and not that that was a bad thing at the time, it was what I wanted, but you know, so I came back and did that, and I started another band. I called up my bass player, and I said, would you want to start playing again? And you know, the drummer and the other guy we had, you know, we didn't want to play with them again just because of the different interests, and we wanted to try and make something of it, you know. So we found a mutual friend who we'd always heard about, who ends up singing and playing really well, and we call him on a Thursday night. It was funny, one of the bars that we played for back in the day, the Lost Dog Pub in Dennis, the owner calls us randomly and says, we're having a going away bash for one of our guys. We need a band. I know it's last minute, but can you do it? And, you know, me and Kev hadn't even been playing at that point, so we were like, you know, we'll see what we can do. So we called Drew, this mutual friend who plays and sings really well, and we're like, Drew, listen, we're going to do a party. Like, this kid loves the Chili Peppers. Learn the whole Californication album straight through. If you can learn the whole album by tomorrow night, and if you can sing halfway decent, you get to be in the band. And kind of just like drunk, and really it was kind of an asshole thing to do because we didn't give him any notice, but it was funny and we laughed and then went to bed. And the next morning I get a call and he's like, yeah man, I stayed up all night and I learned these songs, and turns out he is a great singer, so he's in the band. And that was called Big Fake and the Moneymakers, and we played for the last like 4 or 5 years, and it went well for a while, but you know, motivation again is tough with people if you're the only one that gives a shit. You know, trying to record songs with those guys and do things a lot of times, it was tricky. You know, we were playing a lot. We were doing a ton of wedding gigs and bar gigs. We were the house band at 3 or 4 different places. We played a lot. You know, there were stretches where we would play a show or 2 a day for weeks at a time, and it was grueling. And I think, you know, part of it was that, you know, that's why it kind of lost its allure, was because we really beat the thing into the ground. And when we did write songs, we played them, and we recorded them occasionally, but never really got work done. You know, it was living fast and, like, you know, making money and blowing the money. Really, it was one of those things, you know, you live and learn. But so that happened, and all this time while I'm doing that, I went back to school because I figure, what the hell? I mean, I've never liked school, but I did. And, you know, I went back. I was an EMT for a while, and then I went to nursing school. I went to the police academy, and I'm getting into some trouble. Couldn't do that. So, you know, one thing led to another after changing careers so many times. It brings me to December of 2015. It was a really fucking crazy time for me, man. So I found out that Scott died, and I was staying with my girlfriend, and my brother texted me and said the news, and it was maybe like 10:30 at night. And dude, I don't cry over anything. Like, I just don't cry. I don't know how healthy that is. I don't even think I cried when I was born. But I was just such a fucking mess about that. And you know, I thought back on like reading Scott's autobiography there, and one thing stuck out. He was talking about, you know, hanging out with Dean, and we were talking about, joking about maybe being in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame one day, and just reminiscing and all these wonderful things we were doing. And, you know, it was something that you guys talked about, and that one thing just kind of came into my head. I was thinking, God, is that fucking weird for Dean? And it's just sad for Scott because he never got to see that, you know? And it just fucking crushed me, the whole thing. For a while, I couldn't listen to, like, Atlanta or A Song for Sleeping. I just couldn't even listen to the songs because it was just tough thinking of Scott and all that went down the drain with, you know, just, you know. Anyway, so around that same time, I was a particular kind of nurse. I don't want to say it in this video, but I knew somebody who knew Johnny and who knew Highly Suspect and who knew what they were doing. And I heard that they'd been nominated for a Grammy and stuff, and I was at work that night, and I was like, wow, good for them. I'm so proud of them, blah, blah, blah. But I was just so, like, depressed about Scott that week. I really couldn't do shit. And I came home, and I'm going over old videos, watching live footage and stuff, just trying to make myself feel a little better. And then I'm like, oh shit, you know, let's see what Johnny's doing. I want to check out that Grammy situation. I see Highly Suspect with their stuff going on, and you know, they're doing really well. And then I read about you guys contacting Johnny and seeing if he wanted to jam and stuff. And then Johnny being a douche and opening his fucking mouth on Twitter, and I don't even really know what the fuck happened. But you know, I just thought to myself, man, that's really cool for them. But in the same breath, it's like, I don't know. I thought to myself, man, if those guys really, really liked Johnny, they gotta see me. They gotta fucking jam with me, man. I mean, I know that's like an egocentrical whatever. Take it as you want, but it's the truth. I fucking kick ass, and I wanted to kick ass for you guys. And I thought, man, I wish I could sing for that band. I didn't even know they were looking. And then sure enough, you know, that's when you guys said you were looking for another singer. And Chester left and all that. And I thought, wow, what a cool thing. And I put an audition tape in, and after a few days, I kept making more and more videos, and basically the perfectionist that I was kind of just never liked it. And after a couple weeks, or maybe it might have been like a month, I figured you guys might have already seen it by then, and I was just so kind of fucked up at the time. I just took all the videos down and said, fuck it, man. Like, I'm just fuck it, fuck all that. And I kind of just, I continued playing with Big Fake on the weekends and stuff, and continued working my ass off, and just kind of drowned in work for a little while. I was a private dialysis nurse for this guy for a little while, and doing this and that, and I guess it helped keep me occupied. But so later on that winter, I call Rich. This was maybe a couple months later. This is probably about a year ago now. I call Rich, the bass player for Highly Suspect, and I ask him about what's going on. He picks up the phone right away because we used to all be friends and stuff. And he's like, Steve, long time no see, blah, blah, blah. And, we were talking, and I was like, listen, man, like, I know it's crazy, but if you guys are tight at all with Dean or with STP, you should tell him you know a guy who could really sing his ass off and play his ass off and maybe be that dude. All I'd like is an hour of time. And Rich just kind of laughs at me. Can't even believe he did, but he was like, sorry, man, but like, no offense. I mean, they're kind of looking for somebody, that's exactly how he phrased it. And I'm just like, no, I don't know what you mean, Rich. Like, I don't know what you mean. And he's like, well, somebody established, somebody who's blah, 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 and this and that. And, that's when you guys put out the thing saying, hey, we're looking for anybody. It could have been just some guy who didn't make it, or, whoever. And I know that's who I am. I'm crawling out of a hole in the wall here. But that's who I am. I'm coming out of the wings, and I'm sorry I don't have a big rock band that's making tons of hit songs and signed to a label or anything, but I don't really give a fuck, man. I know I'm a really great artist. I'm a wonderful lyricist. I'm a good singer. I'm a good guitar player. And, that's really it. I just feel like I deserve a shot. And so the last year has gone by, and it's been tough on my girlfriend. It's been tough on me. I've been going out of my skull. So finally, last month, I said to myself, you know what? I'm going to go to this rock and roll fantasy camp thing. And I didn't know what it was going to be all about or what the caliber of people were going to be. And I figured everybody and their brother was going to be signing up to see you guys and play with you guys and be the next singer and all that. And I didn't know what that was all about. So I just signed up for the backstage pass thing. I wasn't singing, I wasn't performing, but I wanted to meet you guys. And I'd always wanted to meet you guys. So on the spot, I quit my jobs and maxed out my credit cards, and I just fucking signed up for this thing. And I would do anything for an audition with you guys, and I figured just getting a foot in the door by meeting them is something. But by the time I came up to meet you guys, I was the last person you met that day. Excuse me. And I couldn't like bring myself to just say, I want to be a new lead singer and I think I got what it takes and I'm the guy and just give me an hour of your time. But I didn't want to fucking do that. I just didn't have the heart to fucking piss you guys off, really. So despite coming all that way from Cape Cod to there, I just didn't even mention it. But I did have the idea to give you guys my guitar. I'd been thinking about that for a long time. It's a double-edged sword. I wanted to get your attention, but at the same time, I love you guys. I wanted to give you a piece of my soul. So that's why I'm giving you guys the guitar. And I figure, hey, that's what I'm doing. So I came back home from this trip, mailing out the guitar, telling you guys who I am because you've never known. And I figure, hey, what have I got to lose, right? So anyway, lost track of where I'm going here, but that's really my story, guys. I'm really fucking dedicated to this. When I say I am up nights, I am up nights. You don't even understand. Like, when I see a band that sucks, I can't sleep. Like, it bothers me. I feel bad for the audience. I feel bad for the band. I can't handle it. I am willing to set the bar really fucking high. That's all I've ever done. And that's what I want to do. That's what I want to do. You guys would just have to meet me and go through some of my books and read my poetry and like my songs and hear my voice and hear me jam and see how I work a mic and work an audience and, play catch with those vibes and pass the energy around amongst you guys. It's something you got to just see, But hopefully, if you guys are interested and you're still looking for somebody, then I'm the guy. Like I said, yeah, I after talking to some of your folks last weekend, a few people said, hey man, you know, you should just do it. You seem like the real deal, and I think they'd love to hear from you. So there it is. That's what I'm doing, guys. I hope this wasn't too much of a babble sesh for you. Yeah, talk to you soon. Peace.